If you're here, you are wanting to know how to download, unzip, and install the item that you have purchased on Etsy. This tutorial is specifically for the mic petting hands available on Etsy. So the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to actually go to your Etsy purchases. So to do that, open your Google Chrome or your Firefox or whatever your internet browser is, and then go to Etsy. Here we are, I'm on Etsy. Now we need to click our icon over here, and we need to go to Purchases and Reviews. From here, you're going to click in Purchases and Reviews. You can see the things you've purchased, whether that's something that's physically been shipped to you, or in the case of this item, a digital download. Digital downloads cannot be refunded. Once you have purchased a digital item, it cannot be refunded, so you might as well make use of it. Over here, we're going to click Download Files, and once you do that, you'll get a little pop-up that gives you a little window, and we're going to click Download over here. And then that will show us a little download thing going on. So let's go to our downloads. Download, File Explorer, let's go to our downloads. Let me just show you what that would look like. So in our downloads folder, we would have the zip file. For me, it looks like a stack of books. For you, it might look like a regular folder with a zipper on it. It doesn't matter. But once you've downloaded it, I'm going to go ahead and just drag it to my desktop. And what is a zip file? A zip file is like a present that you've received on Christmas. It's full of things inside, but to actually get access to the things inside, you have to unzip it and take the wrapping paper off. So, to unzip a zip file or a RAR file, you can use a software called WinRAR. But if you have Windows, Windows knows how to unzip a file without installing WinRAR. So, we're going to right-click the file using your mouse, and you're going to choose Extract Files. And then from here, it's going to show you probably a window that looks something like this. I'm going to just tell it to extract on the desktop. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to hit yes. You won't have this because you wouldn't have this file already unzipped. So if you unzip it, you'll get a folder that looks like this. We don't need the zipped version anymore. Go ahead and just throw that out. So now we have our... Sorry, my bird is stretching her wings. Let me just pause for a second. Okay, so now that you have unzipped the file, as in you have taken the wrapping paper off, now you can open and close the box with all the stuff inside. We still want to keep everything in the box, i.e. the folder, but here's all the nonsense that comes in that folder. So now we're going to install this into our VTube Studio. So to do that, you need to know where your VTube Studio is installed. The easiest way to figure that out, if you don't already know where all your Steam games install, is to just go to your Steam, look up VTube Studio, and then this little gear icon over here, click Manage, and then you're going to click, Manage, and you're going to click Browse Local Files. Well, let me lean out of the way. Over here, Browse Local Files. What that does is it will open to where VTube Studio is installed. For me, it's installed on my secondary hard drive in the Steam library, Steam Apps, Common, VTube Studio. So here we are in VTube Studio. But wait, there are more folders we need to go into. So once you've found your VTube Studio folder, you need to go into VTube Studio Data. You need to go to Streaming Assets. And we're going to load this as a Live 2D model. Don't load it as an item, load it as a model. Loading it as a model will let you adjust the tracking, which is essential for this item. So let's go ahead and put it in Live 2D models. So I'm going to just drag the file from my desktop. And I'm just going to drop it in there. Perfect, now it's in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open VTube Studio. Now that VTube Studio is open, we want to open the model as if it were a model. We're not loading it as an item right now. We are pretending that it is a regular model. So we're going to go to the model icon, and we're going to select the item that we've downloaded. In this case, it's the ASMR, like mic petting arms. And we're loading this as a model so that we can track it. You'll note that when it first loads, there's no arms. What? Why are there no arms? the first thing you need to do is you need to go to settings. You need to go to your camera, and let me turn my camera off for a minute. So with the camera off, you need to choose your camera. So for me, it's my HD Pro webcam, and I'm going to specify it's suggested 1280 by 720. We'll do 30 frames per second because that's what it suggests. This is the only file it can do, so cool. We've got our camera set, but now you need to make sure you choose face and hand tracking, because usually it's only tracking the face. You can also only track the hand, but for now we want face and hand tracking. So let's hit select. And again, you'll notice, well, there's no hands. Where are the hands? What's going on? Let me turn the camera on, and now, once my camera starts behaving, you can see it's tracking my face. And now, as I lift my hands up, you can see now, like, the camera can see my hands. So when the camera sees my hands, the rigged hands will pop up. The rigging for this is very basic. See, for example, the fingers don't, like, close. So what it can do is it will track the Y position of your hands. So that is how, like, my hands are low. Now they're going up. This is the Y axis, the vertical axis. It will also track the X axis, which is the horizontal axis. If I move my hands too far and my camera loses tracking, the hands will hide themselves. So now, cool, you've got your hand tracking. But let's say I'm going to go ahead and if I were to stream an ASMR stream and I put my hand on the top of my microphone, you can probably hear me touching it. So, like, I'm touching the microphone right now. And for my camera is actually mounted up here, kind of at the top of my computer monitor. But when my hand is actually touching the microphone, the Live 2D hands think that it's touching, like, the bottom of the microphone. So how do I change that? One option is I can move my camera. So now I've moved my camera down to my second monitor. My webcam is now blocking my mouth. But when I put my hands on top of the microphone, it's a little closer. Still not exactly perfect. So I'm going to put my camera. For me, my camera usually sits on top of my monitor. You can put your camera wherever you usually have it. But we're going to now go into how do I make these hands touch the microphone when I am touching the top of the microphone. So to do that, we've got our camera tracking set up. We've got the face and hand tracking going. Perfect, wonderful. Now we need to actually go down into this area over here, model settings. You need to scroll down, make sure movement config is off. If you have movement config on, see how the microphone kind of floats around. We don't really want that, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And now physics doesn't really matter. Here in model settings, if you scroll down, you'll see each kind of thing that I have manually input. This is what the webcam will see. For example, let me start with right hand detected by camera. So the input is, does my webcam see the hand? So for PC and Mac, if I'm using a webcam, when my webcam sees my hand, it turns this value down here. See this value over here? See how it's at 0? When I lift my hand up where the webcam can see it, it snaps to 1. So this function is input. Input means, okay, where is the hand? Webcam is saying, I don't see the hand. If I see the hand, then I want to output this function. So it's going to output the function I made, which is right-handed detected. What that means is I just made a parameter. That way, if your hands are gone, like the webcam doesn't see your hands, it will hide the Live 2D hand. If you decide you don't want that, you can remove it. But I wouldn't actually. No, you can't. Never mind. You need your right hand to be detected. And the same function goes for the left hand. We have the left hand detected by camera. So it says when webcam finds my left hand, it's going to output the left hand to actually like come up from where I have it hidden, and it's going to like pop into view. That way you can use this microphone without it, or your hands won't just be stuck in weird positions. If people find that they don't like this, I can edit the model to remove this function, but for now, it is built into the model. Or yeah, so right now you have to use that. I'm rambling. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically this tells the software, when you see a hand in the camera, turn on the left hand detected function, which I'll show you what that is. So it will say right hand detected. So that means when it sees the camera, it's going to turn the hand on and it's going to come up from the bottom. That's all it's doing. But so you won't really need to mess with that one, but I wanted to go ahead and explain how that one works, like why you'll see the hands kind of coming and going. So generally, if you were like streaming with the microphone and like most of your stream's going to be like petting it, your hands will generally be in view of the webcam at all times. So what I'm going to do, actually, if you want, you can even put the output to 1 over here. That way the hand's always visible. So when it's at 0, it takes the hand away. When it's at 1, it's always visible. So if you want the hands to always be visible, even if your webcam doesn't see them, you can just set that value to 1. For example, when I go back to my camera, it says signal lost. It doesn't see my hands, but because I told it to be at 0, or I told it to be at 1, even if it loses my hands, it's not going to activate that function. So if you want your hands to be persistent at all times, even if you move away, or you accidentally move out of view, you can change that value to 1, which will be under model settings, and you'll change this to 1. If you want them to go away when the camera can't see you, put it back to 0. For now, I'm going to leave it at 0 because that's how the model will be sent out. But now I'm going to show you the important part, which is I want my hand, so I have my hand in view, and I'm going to put my in real life hand on top of the microphone, like where the fluffy part is. So I'm touching the fluffy part with my hand, physically in the real world. You can hear me petting the microphone. And now I'm going to look at this value over here. See this value? It's based on my webcam position and where my hand is right now in the real world. It says that I am floating at like -7. So in the real world, I have to have my hand at -7 for it to be touching. So now I'm just going to take that value and I'm going to put it up there. So now, when I put my hand on top of the microphone, it's kind of like put a limit of, oh, okay, so the top of the microphone is up here. Okay. And now, if you want to try and like limit, like let's say I'm moving the hand down, I'm petting the bottom of the fur here, but my webcam, but the model thinks it's all the way down at the bottom of the microphone. I can also like limit the value. Let me try just putting it at 0. Nope, that's weird. All right, let's set it to -5. Also weird. Well, let's just leave it at, I think it was 10. I don't remember what the default was. Let me check what the left-hand one was. -10. Okay, so I'm going to set it to -10. It's kind of moving way too much. So how do I limit that amount of movement? We can minimize the output. So for example, I can remove the function of my model being able to go all the way down here. I can set it to 0. So then now, when I lower my hand, it only goes a little bit. So this is kind of where you're going to want to tinker. So as you move your hands around with your webcam and you're touching the microphone and you want your hands to match, you will need to just tinker with the values. So now you'll see when I do the left hand, my left hand is physically touching the top of this microphone, but it's outputting it as if my hand is down, like way down here. So I need to do the same thing with the left hand. So when my left hand is touching the microphone, it's at like -7. So I'm going to put -7. I'm going to put my hand back on the microphone. And if I want to, I can reduce the output a little bit so that it won't shoot as far down. And my hand X position is also weird. So with my left hand, it's not even touching the microphone, but it is on this one. So let's see, how do I get this hand closer? Well, let's just input some different values. So with my hand on it, it says it's at like 2, so I'm going to go ahead and put it at 2. All right, so that is the incorrect value. So let me set it back to what it was, which I think was positive 10. So when I move my hand away from the microphone, all right, so this is my hand moving away, and notice how the value goes up to 10. So as I bring my hand close, I am physically touching the microphone now. It's at 2. So let's set this one to 2. So now when I touch my microphone, I bring my hand in and touch the microphone, it's at 2. So now I can like pet the microphone. It's not perfect, it's not exact, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, it will kind of get the job done a little bit. I'm actually not liking the function of the hand kind of going away. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set this value to 1 on the left hand, and I'm going to set this value to 1 on the right hand. And when I send this model out, I'm going to send it out with the hand detected 1 and 1. If you want the hands to go away, just put 0 in this value, and then it will go away when it doesn't see it. But I'm finding it to be a little more distracting, so I'm actually going to send it out with the hands like always in view, since that's kind of the purpose of the thing itself. And then from here, you're just going to have to like learn how to puppet these hands a little bit. So really you have, let me actually turn my camera view on. So now, both hands raised. As I turn my hands, so like these, my palms are facing my camera. Now I'm going to turn my palm to face the microphone. See how the wrist rotates? This controls wrist rotation of your hands. And then up, down, down and up, out and in, out and in. So it is going to take a bit of tinkering and a bit of getting used to. But for the purpose of like trying to make your ASMR stream a little more immersive, I think it's pretty useful. And if you find that like you need to switch the hands for some reason, so for some reason this is my right hand, but I want to switch it for some reason, you can do that over here if you want. I'm not going to go over that right now. But okay, so for now we have adjusted our tracking, so it's tracking a little better. So now when I pet the microphone, it kind of actually pets it. For the Y position, I'm also gonna like add some smoothing so that it will kind of make the hand move a bit more smoothly. And it's just gonna take a bit of learning on how to actually puppet this. I think that works. Again, just tinker. Just move things around, and if it doesn't look good, just re-download the file and put it back in here, and it will reset everything to the default. But for now, I'm gonna pretend that I am content with the results here. As I'm moving my hands and touching my microphone, the hands are touching the fuzz. So that's what I want. Now I'm going to show you the hotkeys that this model has. So from here, we're going to click the hotkey menu over here. And this item only has one hotkey. And what that is it will turn off the fluffy cover. So if you press 1 and 2, it will... Oh, I've got an art mesh error I'll have to fix. Oh, I've got more art mesh errors I have to fix. That's okay. I'll fix it. But 1 plus 2 just turns the fluffy cover off. So if you wanted to have the microphone without the fluffy cover, let's say you like the sound of it, you're going to take your fluffy cover off and touch it, you can. That's the only hotkey that this model has. And then other than that, now I can show you how to actually color this model. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to model settings. We're going to go to customize model, customize multiply screen color for art meshes. And we're going to try and color this to match our model, like my main model. I don't know exactly what skin tone he uses. Oops. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And I can adjust it when I actually import this as an item. Right now we are still working with it as if it is a full model. But you'll notice as you hover around, oh, I see. It's because like my notches I've accidentally had overlaid. Let me fix that really quick. Okay, I have re-imported the model. And I fixed the art mesh issue that was on my end. That wasn't something that could have been fixed on your end. So again, we've configured our tracking. So again, right now, we have the model loaded as if it was a VTube Studio model. So an avatar, like the Jolteon, or my model's main avatar. Currently, the program thinks this is a full regular model. Now we want to... You have two options here. You can color the model as a model, or now that we have configured the tracking, we can color the model as an item. It's basically the same thing. The only difference is if you color it as a model, you can save your art mesh things as a hotkey, so that if you push a hotkey, you can change the art mesh color at any time. For now, I'm actually... So if you want to color it as a model, you would click the gear icon, you would go to model settings, and you would go to customize model, customize multiply screen color for art meshes, and you would do all of your coloring in here. For me, I'm actually going to load it as an item. And a very important note. So my very important note is you must load these hands as a live 2D model first, because that's the only way you're going to be able to configure the tracking based on your webcam position. My webcam is in a different position than yours, so it's going to see my hands as being in a different position. You have to load this as a model, which is the way I showed you to load it in first. And now our next step, I'm going to show you how to take this model, now that we have configured the tracking based on where we usually keep our webcam, as an item, and we will change the colors as an item. You can change the colors as a model if you want here, and it'll be the same thing. But I'm going to go ahead and make this into an item. So let's do that. So how do we take this model that we have now configured and load it as an item? I'm going to exit the customization window. So we have adjusted the tracking, and my model has a hotkey. If I press 1 and 2, I can turn that fluffy microphone cover off. If your main model uses that hotkey 1 and 2 for something, then you're going to want to change the hotkey in here to a key that you don't use for your model. So if you have your model's blush set to 1 and 2, every time you push blush, your fluffy cover is going to be turning off and on. So avoid mapping hotkeys to the same thing. Again, for now, as you load the model, it's going to be default. So now it's going to be default set to 1+2 is what does this function. So now let's actually take our configured item, or configured model rather, and we're going to convert this into an item so that we can pin it on our main model. So to do that, I'm going to just click the background until this pops up. I'm going to click the item settings over here, and I'm going to choose load current model as a live 2D item. And what does this do? Well, it tells us this will copy the currently loaded model, the ASMR mic petting arms, into the items folder so that it can be loaded as a live 2D item. So what it's going to do is it is physically going to move, or it's going to make a copy of this folder, which is the one that I've made my configurations in. Your configurations get saved in this file, by the way. if that matters. They get saved in the VTube Studio file. So it's going to make a copy of this from here, and it's going to paste it in the items. For you to be able to pin something to your model, it has to be in this folder. So I'm going to let the software, it says I'm going to copy it into your items folder. I'm going to say, okay, go ahead and do that for me. Bam, perfect. And now you'll notice I have 2 sets of arms. Crazy. But now you'll see that the tracking is still working, how we configured it. Perfect, wonderful. You can adjust some of the stuff over here. I don't really tinker with it. And an important function for you to know is, do you plan on using the hotkey 1+2? Do you plan on using the hotkey that will take this fluffy cover off? If you do, make sure this is checked so that you can use the hotkey that you configured, which by default is 1+2. If you want to change it, go back to your model as the model, and you can change the key binding, and then re-import this as an item. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I want to use my hotkey. So I'm going to hit save. And it's going to ask me, do you want to customize the multiply and screen color overlays for this item? For the moment, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to delete this item. And then this is the model version. Now I'm going to load my main model. So let's move on to loading my main model. So this is my main model. And I want the microphone to be available for him to use. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click the item settings. And look, it's been pasted. It's been pasted into here. So I can select that. And I'm going to put it above my model. And for me, I don't want to pin it to my Live 2D model. That way, like, if I'm moving around, I don't want the microphone to float all over. So I'm going to click OK. Oh, but it didn't let me change the colors. Why? Let's just delete it. Let me load it again. And if you want to be able to change the colors of the model, click down here, configure and fine-tune Live 2D item. Perfect. Again, it's going to ask, do you want to use hotkeys? Oh, shucks, I don't want to be able to pin it to my model, though. So actually, let me cancel this. Let me delete it. Let me reload it. Don't pin to my model, but I do want to configure. So now if I move around, the microphone's not going to fly around all over the place. And again, I'm going to use the hotkey that I had, which will turn that off. I want to use that, so I'm going to leave this checked. And now I'm going to, do you want to customize the multiply and screen color overlays? Yes, we do. So now let's change the colors of our pieces to make it match our model. To do that, we can just try to eyeball the colors as closely as we can. I'm just going to drag it over here, make my model kind of big. And you'll notice as you hover around, pieces will turn red. So we have the palm piece here. This is the line art. This is the color. This is the shadow. So let's do the color. And I'm going to try and match it to his skin tone. I think that's pretty close. So I'm going to make note of this skin tone. I'm going to just open Notepad. And do skin. FFE 3cc. I'm going to click OK. Okay, and then if I click the fingers, this is pinky top color. I can hit paste, so I'll turn that on and I'll hit paste, and it will paste that last color. Oh, the multiply isn't working. So notice how the shadow here is dark. It's colored in pink. I make it so that you can like change the shadow color. That way you can kind of make it match your model a bit more. Like, let's say maybe your model shaded with like a gray or blue hue. For me, I shade mine with like purplish pink. So you can make it more pink, or you can get rid of the shading entirely if your model's flat colored. Okay. And I'm just gonna go through and color this model. So we'll just, and everything is named to try and make it a little easier for you. So anything that says color is going to be like the base color of the item, and then anything that says shadow is going to be the shading of that item. So let's, for example, we have the pinky, or my bad, this is the ring finger. So it's going to have the top, and then there's the bottom piece as well. This finger's in two pieces. So I'm going to paste the bottom color, and then I want to do the top color, and then I want to do the bottom color. Color. So my goal right now is I'm just pasting the skin color onto anything that says color. So the finger color, index finger color, the index finger is also in two pieces. The thumb is in several pieces. There's a top and then the bottom, or base rather. Oh, and then you'll notice these ones are all labeled R for right hand, right? So like right pieces, and then this is left. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to paste all the same colors on both. And it's just one of those processes that it takes a bit. So did I get the thumb base color? I did not. So let's do thumb base. Sometimes it will hide behind the microphone, so I'll have to put my hand up to where the camera can see it and then try to get it to behave. There we go. Paste. So I'm going to paste all the skin colors really quick. Okay, so I have all of my like base skin colors pasted. You'll notice the line art is gray. On my model has colored line art, except this part's black, but notice like the skin line art for him is kind of a brown. So I'm actually going to change the colors of the line art. And I'm going to make it just a little bit more brown, just to kind of match. So now I'm going to find everything that has a line art. And I'm going to paste that color onto all of the line art pieces. Even the fingernail has a line art piece. So you can color your fingernails to be whatever color you want. For example, we can do orange, purple. My guy's a pigeon, so I could do like some purples and greens. Or if you don't want the fingernails at all, what you can do is the fingernail is made up of 5 art meshes. So what you can do is you can turn all of them off. So I'll have to do the nail line art. So again, I can drag that off, and then I'll have to turn off the nail shadow, and then I have to turn off the nail highlight. But if you wanted to remove the fingernails from your model, maybe it makes your model look too girly, or you just don't like the look of them, you can. I'm going to go ahead and leave them back on. For me, and I'm actually going to give my guy some slightly purple fingernails. Where's my nail line art? I want to turn that back on. And I can do the line art for the nail purple, so that's what I'll do. I'm going to do line art. Oops, no, I don't want to make that purple. I want the nail line art. So, and another option you can do is like I'm going to click on the background. I can search line art so that only line art layers will pop up. And if you want to specify like, oh, these ones are all named in nail line art, so I'm going to do nail _ line art. And now I can just like paste this purple on these ones. My hand is freaking out because my webcam is trying to figure out where my hand actually is. Cool, so now I'm going to grab the nail color. And I'm going to double click on the background. I'm going to type nail _ color. And I can paste onto these. And pigeons kind of have an iridescent neck feather, so I'm actually going to change the nail highlight. So I'm going to click on the background, and I'm going to search nail _ highlight. And I'm going to make it kind of like a bluish green. Word of warning, don't click cancel. You will lose all of your work. Cancel is evil. I don't even like to click this X, so I usually just double click the background if I need to get rid of my search selection. Never click cancel. Cancel will make you cry. You'll have spent forever, colorizing your model, only for you to then lose all of that work that you put in. All right, let me grab the palm, not color, I want the palm line art. So I'm gonna just double click on the background. I'm gonna underscore line art. And anything that's like finger line art, I'm gonna middle finger line art. I'll just paste this onto that way. Index finger line art, forearm line art for the left forearm. So I think I got all the line art on the right hand. It looks like it. So now I'm going to do the same, and I'm just going to go down the line and paste it onto all of this. Okay, cool. So I've got the hands colored, but we have a whole microphone and arms to color as well. Or the sleeves rather. If your model doesn't use the sleeves, like if your model has short sleeves shirt and you want the forearms, just drag all of the, not that one, not this one, sleeve color, drag that to 0. And then the sleeve shadow, drag that alpha to 0. And then same for the cuff. There's an outer cuff, and then there's an inner cuff as well. So you can make that 0. So if your model does not have long sleeves, you can remove them just like that. My model does have sleeves, so I'm going to turn those back on. I'll tinker with the shading colors. The forearm, I want the sleeve shadow. I want the sleeve color, and I'm gonna try and match it's kind of a grayish tan for my model. I'll do the same for the cuff. The sleeves, I didn't end up separating the line art like I did the hands. So the sleeves are just like the sleeves and the cuffs. You'll just only have the color option, so you can't independently change the line art. If you really, really want that to be a function, I will update the model to include that as a function. And now, I don't know why my model is stuck. I can't move the item. I can only move my model. For now, I'm going to click OK. Because my item is... I don't know why it's stuck there. I don't want to... so I'm going to remove the item real quick. I'm going to add it back again. Hopefully it saved my colors. We'll find out. I'm going to add it there. I don't want to pin it to my Live 2D model. I do want to configure. Okay, it did save my colors. Now I'm going to drag it over here. I don't know why it was stuck. I must have accidentally double-clicked and pinned it to the background or something. I'm going to click Save. Yes, I want to continue customizing the colors. So now let's change the colors of more things. So I'm going to change the various microphone pieces. So you have the main color of your microphone. My microphone is black. And there's also a gradient option. If you want to have a gradient, you can. If you don't want it, you can just turn it off. I just put a gradient on there so that, I don't know, maybe you want it to kind of have like just a slight tinge of color. The base back you can also do separately, so like you could do like a red here, and then the front you could do a blue or purple. And you can also independently change the shadow colors, so if you want them darker, you want them lighter, you can do that. You can change the highlight edge colors. Then these little knobs. Paste. Bottom knob, paste, paste. There's the fluffy cover. And then there is stuff underneath it that we can't see right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just do the fluffy color for now. I added like a gradient, that way you can like add some, you know, color to your thing if you want. There's a rim up here. It's kind of hidden by the fluff. I'm just going to make it black. Rim highlight, I'm going to try to make it kind of match the bluish color. Rim shadow is fine. Base back. Circle base color. And then there's a circle base circle. So you could make that a different color if you wanted. I think I'm just going to do it black. And then the fluff gradient. You can do it white, you can do it dark. I'll just do it dark. And then there is the mic grid and the mic base color. Mic grid base. I'm just going to make it black for now. Because I can't see it. So let's click 1 plus 2. So you can kind of see the these pieces here. You have the mic base, you have the shadow that's beneath that, and then you can change the color of these. These pieces are actually, it's only 2 objects. So let me see if I can manage to do that. I can't really see it, so and the only way I know how to do it is to delete it, load it. As an item. Configure and fine tune, don't pin. But it's called mic grid. Mic. Oh, not, I want to change the colors. Mic grid. So mic grid, and then there's 2. So there's mic grid 1 and mic grid 2. I'm just going to make one of them green, and I'm going to make one of them purple. Just so I can like kind of figure out which one is which. And I want the mic shadow to just be the default color. Okay, so now I've finished coloring it. Now when I push 1, 2, yeah, see how these are different colors? So you can like customize the top of that if you want. It's just hard to do because when you load the item, you can't see it. But now that you know that they exist, you'll be able to. And then from here, you can just get your little stream setup going. And now I can do my little ASMR stream with my hands, so I can move my hands, gesture while I'm talking to people, and pet the microphone. It's a bit of work, but I don't know. I think it might make some ASMR streams a little more immersive. Just give you a little something to add. Oh, but I want to be able to save this as a hotkey. That way I can turn it off later if I decide I want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to my main model. Settings. I lied. I'm going to go to the item settings. Create a new item scene. This is going to be ASMR fluffy mic arms. And I'm going to set this in an arms group. So I'm going to go ahead and just do like arms, assets, save. Make sure this is blue, so it'll save. And now I can load this as a hotkey on my main model. And you'll notice, see how I can push 1 plus 2, and the little microphone fluffy cover will go away, but you don't see it in this list. The only way you can see the items hotkeys is to copy it from the items and then load it as a live 2D model like we did in the beginning of the tutorial. I wish there was an easier workaround for that, but there isn't yet, so that's the only way I know how to actually do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do fluffy mic petting, and I'm just gonna set this to a random key. So I'm gonna do 1 and Q because that's a weird combination. So now I'm gonna do set item toggle scene, and I'm gonna choose the scene, which is the, did I just name it ASMR arm item? I've made so many tutorials that it okay, this one, that I forget to delete these after I'm done making the video tutorial. So now when I push 1 plus Q, it will turn that on and off. So now you can pet a microphone while you're streaming. You can kind of gesture as you're talking. And then I do have a separate separate set of arms. Let me see if I can load them on here. Alt plus Q. I have this other set of items, and there's a tutorial on that. I might try to combine the two, but not a lot of people have bought them or used them, so I'm not going to... If you've specifically messaged me and want me to fuse them together, I will, but if no one does, then it's probably not going to happen. But hopefully this helps. I know I'll probably use it for my streams, but I wanted to go ahead and make it kind of an option for other people. So yeah, good luck, have fun, and if you do use this asset, please link me your stream. I would love to watch. It gives my brain so much serotonin. Good luck, have fun, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Etsy, on Discord. You can leave a YouTube comment, and I'll try to remember to reply. Yeah.